Hi, my name is Nick Szydlowski, and I'm thrilled to be here sharing this project with you at Global DH Symposium. The title of this presentation is Exploring New Structures for Minimal Computing, Introducing Rondo, a minimal single-page application for digital projects. So here's an outline for what we're going to look at. I'm going to introduce Rondo. I'm going to talk a little bit about our theoretical approach, which I like to call digital gleaning. We're going to talk about the technical approach, which is to work on minimal computing, but instead of using a static site generator, we're using a single page application architecture. We're going to talk about the first Rondo site in production, running in prayer, and a little bit about our development goals and next steps for Rondo. So Rondo is a minimal framework for digital exhibits. It lets users build a digital exhibit or project working from a Google Sheet or a local Excel spreadsheet. Site creators can host the site on GitHub pages, and it uses a single page architecture, meaning search and other functionalities provided via JavaScript in the browser. This slide has links to the demo site and GitHub repository for Rondo. I want to make sure to credit the whole Rondo team. Introduce myself. I'm the digital scholarship librarian at SJSU, and I've been the project lead and the sort of initial developer on this project. I've been working closely with Yashwant Paladugu, who's a really exceptional SJSU student, who's a software developer who's been working on the project this year. And we've also been working with Michelle Williams, digital collections metadata coordinator at SJSU Library, who's been involved in testing, design input, and was the lead on the Running in Prayer digital exhibit and the implementation of Rondo in production for the first time. So I'm going to start by talking about digital gleaning, which is Rondo's theoretical approach. And this is really inspired by the film The Gleaners and I by Agnes Varda. And so here's a slide from the film where we see a man in Paris who says, yes, I live almost 100% on things from the trash. I can't make the same claim, but this spirit is a part of what informs the development of Rondo. So if you haven't seen the film The Gleaners and I, it's a really exceptional and inspirational film in which Agnes Varda develops the traditional practice of gleaning or of following the harvest and picking up the produce, the fruits, the vegetables that are left behind and living off that material. She develops that into a model for her own work as a filmmaker and an artist. And I propose that we can think of that also as a model for scholarship and research. So this kind of digital gleaning that we're talking about with Rondo relies less on literal trash and more on the left behinds of the tech industry, including free services like Google Sheets or GitHub Pages. And I would argue that this approach, which we call digital gleaning, complements minimal computing by expanding the scope of possible approaches. So we might think of minimal computing approaches that take advantage of these free resources while also being aware of the limitations that come with them and coming up with workarounds for that. The technical approach for Rondo um, focuses on the idea of minimal computing, but using a different architecture. So Rondo is heavily inspired by minimal computing tools like Wax and Collection Builder. I've used Wax on several projects and really enjoyed using it. Um, as a technical user, something like Wax relying on a static site generator has been great for me, but the learning curve is really steep. It's difficult to teach to people. It's difficult for less technical users to take advantage of some of these tools. So Rondo's single page architecture takes some of the pressure off the site creator. It allows users to build the site in the Google Sheet. But Rondo can disconnect from the Google Sheet, which is the importance of sort of this idea of using this local Excel file or local file as the database, which provides similar benefits to a static site. You can have a site um, that can run on its own without connection to external databases. Here's our architecture diagram for Rondo. You can see over here on the side, the spreadsheet consisting of an item sheet, a pages sheet, and a site configuration sheet forms kind of a little database for Rondo. Rondo's JavaScript retrieves the data from the spreadsheet and works with a single HTML page to build out the interactive Rondo site. Some of the technical details, the key one I want to highlight here is that Rondo does not use a JavaScript framework. So if you're familiar with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you'll be able to work with and modify Rondo's code. Here's a preview of what Rondo's spreadsheet looks like. So you can see this is the pages sheet. So pages are built directly in the spreadsheet. And here you can enter your page content either in HTML or in Markdown. So Rondo, the first example of Rondo in production is something I'm really excited to share with you. In November 2025, we in the Digital Humanities Center collaborated with King Library's Africana, Asian American, Chicano, and Native American Studies Center, which we call the ACNA Center, to launch the first production site using Rondo. The site, running in prayer, documents the story of the California 500-mile American Indian Spiritual Marathon Relay Team. This is a digital version of a physical exhibit. So we made some additions to Rondo to enable support for 360-degree images of that physical exhibit, along with interaction on the image. So when you click on like this little eye, you get a modal pop up that shows more information about that item. This is an example of what the sort of item search and display area looks like in this site, typical of a Rondo site. And then thinking about our next steps, one of the things we're excited to do is share with potential users like you. We're hoping to engage in further user testing and research to understand user needs and kind of make sure we're targeting Rondo's features to what will be needed in the classroom, what will be needed for community engaged research. And Yashwant is working on a really exciting project to develop a dashboard and tool to further simplify site creation. So here's my contact information along with links to the Digital Humanities Center and the Rondo homepage. Please keep in touch. Please reach out if you're interested in using Rondo. I'd love to hear with you. I'd love to work with you and try to figure out how it might fit into your work. Thank you very much.